If I'm adding any value, helping you learn, please do me one big favor, drop a rating and review on whichever platform you listen to. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I hope you're having a wonderful day. We're going to start with the self-image. What is the self-image? Well, it's what we think of ourselves. And this is built on so many aspects of how we live, what we do, our accomplishments, how we treat other people. The self-image is a very open-ended thing. But we have the power to act in a way that whatever we desire to be, that can actually occur through planning and putting those plans into action. The self-image is very apparent in when you just look at someone. What is their body language like? If a human is slouching and looking down at the ground, immediately, you don't have to think about it. It's just evident. They're usually, not all the time, there is exceptions, usually someone who is walking, looking at the ground, slouching, is not confident. Now, how do I get to this conclusion? Well, from how confident people have appeared in my life, they stand with their backs, straight, their chest high, their chin high, and that says a lot about someone. How a person carries themselves is very big in who they are, because if you view yourself as a human who might be depressed or overweight or useless, those thoughts, they might not be true. Actually, they aren't true, because every human I know for a fact has talents. We all have different talents. We all have different levels of skill in different areas. But something that I'm good at, I can guarantee you there are people who are better than me at that. And something that I'm horrible at, I know there are people who are amazing at. So the point is that each person is born with different gifts and skills. And I don't want to see anyone with a lacking self-image. We need to build up the individuals. And to build up each person around us, it starts with the awareness. If you at least notice that your self-image could be strengthened, that the way that you speak to yourself, the way that you view yourself isn't how you actually want to think of yourself and view yourself, then changes have to occur. And the self-image comes from maybe partially truthful actions. If you are overweight and you haven't done much in your life, or let's not say your life, because everyone has done amazing things. It's just, if you get into a rut, it's sometimes hard to reach back to your prior accomplishments, because that rut just has you in that moment. It has you looking negatively and feeling like you're useless and you're not good enough. But I promise you, you are good enough. You have so much power inside of you, but we have to notice that we're not where we want to be. Once we're at least aware of the fact that we can grow, that we're not performing at our maximum capacity currently, that's when the blossoms begin. That's when everything starts, and you at least realizing that there's room to improve, that your self-image isn't as strong as it should be, that's powerful. Once you put in that realization, now you can really take steps and put plans on paper. What are you going to do to feel better about yourself? It could be simple things. If you drink 5 cans of Coke every day, how about you drink 3? You just minus 2, and that is going to be a slow process, and you don't want to rush it, because we all start from different areas, and it's important to have a long-term view, a broad view of when you're trying to change your habits and be a better person, it doesn't happen overnight. You can't go from viewing yourself as sad, useless, overweight, and miserable to viewing yourself as complete, fulfilled, financially secure, sexy in one day. It doesn't work like that. But the amazing thing about this is the more work and time that goes into a transformation, the better you're going to feel when you do see, what's the word I'm looking for? When you see those boxes get checked. You don't go from being 500 pounds to 250 pounds like that. You go from 500 to 475, and from 475 to 460. We must appreciate the small wins, because small wins, that's what the journey is full of. And it is so important not to have a finish line or just a simple goal that you're unhappy until you reach that goal. For me, an example would be, I'm not happy until I get a Lamborghini. Like, that is a completely toxic mindset, because I can guarantee you before I get a Lamborghini, I'm going to have a drift car that I busted my ass for. I'm going to earn smaller wins throughout the journey. So the power in being aware and noticing your self-image, noticing the smaller wins, noticing how simple acts of avoiding that Coke and going from 5 to 3 Cokes, those wins compound, and you're going to become such a better, stronger person when you shift your mindset to talk to yourself in a positive, healthy, reinforcing manner. Life is always going to be hard, and we're continuously going to be sabotaged by the mind telling us, you're not good enough. What are you doing? Just criticisms, because you are your biggest enemy, and you are the one who's going to have the most impact on your life. No one else can change your life like you can. And we need more people to understand that. The victimhood mindset is very toxic and debilitating, because it takes the power away from the individual. That's what the negative, the evil people in this world desire, is for the individual to feel helpless and like everything is out of their control. So I'm not saying that everything is in your control, not at all. But what can we do today, tomorrow? What small steps can we take to make ourselves personally feel better, to strengthen the self-image? Well, it has to be the simple appreciation of the small wins. And the small wins can be very simple. Whether you're not used to going outside, getting sunlight, and going for walks, let me tell you, it might sound like something that is some woozy bullshit, like get some sunlight, look at birds, and be a tree hugger. I'm not saying go hug trees, but what I am saying is you need sunlight to feel better. You need fresh air to feel good. You need to move your body to feel good. And that isn't something that can be debated. It is factual evidence that sunlight makes humans feel better. Why do plants and all of that biology grow towards the sun? It's because sunlight strengthens all life. Human beings, animals, plants. Why do those cats, I don't know if you ever see the video or the meme, but I saw this meme where all the cats over a 20-hour span, something like that, kept moving in the small ray of sun that was peeking through the windows. And that isn't a coincidence. It's funny how sometimes so many things line up. It's no longer a coincidence. But people don't notice these things because they're not even aware and paying attention to the simple coincidences. So it's truly our job to at least be aware, to notice areas of lack. And lack is horrible in all aspects of life. Whether you lack the confidence, you lack the strength, you lack the ability to say no, you lack kindness, you lack financial freedom, all of these areas are going to cause issues if you're in lack. So our big job or big question has to come from what areas am I most lacking currently, and what areas am I actually doing well at? Because you can take aspects of, if you're doing good in a certain portion of your life, it might be because you're following specific principles that are guiding you. And for example, let's say that you have a bad spending habit and you're not good at saving money, but your relationships are flourishing. You're kind, you're loving, you're a good listener, and you're helpful. All of these aspects go into a flourishing relationship. So what aspects need to be in your financial saving or financial freedom to help you achieve your goals? It's all about principles and guidelines and general things that the human can do. So it comes with the awareness. If I'm spending a bunch of money on things that are not even helping my health, and maybe let's go to the next step, the things I'm buying are actually hurting me. You're buying ice cream, you're buying Doritos, you're buying sugared up soda. First of all, you're wasting your money by doing that. And second of all, you're killing yourself. You're slowly killing your body and creating bad habits over time. So this goes into having a long-term view on everything, to understand the broader picture, not to just look at, the thinnest area is I buy a Coke, I drink a Coke, Coke tastes good. The second area is I buy a Coke, I drink a Coke, I spent money on the Coke. The third area is buy a Coke, drink a Coke, spent money on a Coke, it's not healthy for me, and it's slowly killing me, etc. So you need to look at the deeper issues, look at things not just at a base level, but actually take step 2 and 3 and step 4. Look at how a decision or a action is really going to affect your future. And so I feel we really talked some good points on that. So what else? Okay, do not leave happiness up to chance. And this flows right in with what I was speaking on. Happiness is not some fairy tale fucking bullshit. Happiness comes from putting in diligent effort, making plans, and then sticking to what you say. So, of course, it should be healthy. If you make a plan, let's say you make a plan and it's an unhealthy plan to go do some drugs, and then you go and you do some drugs, that's not going to make you happy. Don't get me started, because this is going into the fact that certain things are going to bring you temporary happiness, like overeating, like doing drugs, like even, I don't know, but temporary happiness is different from long-term stability and sustainable happiness. So there's just a big difference between going on a walk, getting fresh air, getting sunlight, drinking water, going to bed on time, treating people with kindness, building relationships, reading books. You get my point. Those are all healthy things that are going to help you be a happier, more fulfilled, educated human in the long run. But on the other spectrum, we have doing drugs, overeating, running from reality, acting like a victim. All of those things are so much further on the other end of the spectrum that they might give you some temporary happiness. It might feel good, but believe me, it is destroying you as a person, destroying and attacking your mindset and brain. So to make a what's the word? To at least understand that happiness is two-toned. You have temporary and you have sustainable happiness. What do you want? And I'm sure everyone wants sustainable happiness. That's why I'm talking, because I've realized that, oh wow, things that made me happy temporarily really kind of destroyed my mindset and put me into a deep, dark place in my life. So maybe I could help some other people by sharing what actually happens when you think that these temporary aspects of life are sustainable, but they're not at all sustainable. They're actually debilitating and they're attacking you in all areas of your life. And that's hard to come to realize, because in temporary happiness, it seems like everything's good until you get to the end. You get to a point where you're like, wow, this really isn't helping me anymore, and it's actually just hurting me. And that's a hard conclusion to come to, but it should be the conclusion that most people come to when you're abiding into temporary things that are just unhealthy and wasting your money and not helping you learn. In reality, there's so much to learn, especially in our generation, where information is abundant. There's so much abundance with resources. We can simply hop on YouTube and learn from people who literally have millions of dollars, who have lived healthy, happy lives. And they're at the point where all they want to do is share experiences and try to help the younger generation, which is just beautiful. So I don't think we have much time to spend being victims. I'm not saying that bad things don't happen and people don't get unlucky, but when something out of your control happens and it's not a good scenario, the mindset needs to be, what can I do to solve this? How can I have the mindset of a solution human rather than complaining and, oh, woe is me, life is so hard. That doesn't get you anywhere. It doesn't help you. And maybe it feels good for, 15 minutes or something, but it does not help you. So we need to focus on having a self-image and keeping a longer term view on all of our actions. How are the tiny day-to-day things that we do? How we speak to people, when we wake up, how we exercise, do we exercise, what we eat, what we think of, what we listen to, and what we watch. How are these things transpiring into our futures? What is happening with our minds? Are we progressing our minds or are we destroying our minds? So if you enjoyed this type of conversation and if you have any questions, I'd love to hear any of your thoughts. So just let me know below in any of the comment sections, all platforms. I'm curious to hear some feedback from the viewers and what you guys would like for future episodes. But hey, enjoy yourselves. Be sure to take care of the mind, fuel yourself, and appreciate the small things. Gratitude is the key to happiness. Have a good one.